My name is Dr. Elena Calloway. I'm 34 years old. And for most of my life, I believed betrayal would be something obvious, loud, messy, impossible to misunderstand. I thought if the man I loved ever crossed a line that mattered, there would be evidence you couldn't ignore, something undeniable, something cinematic. But the truth is, the worst betrayals don't arrive like disasters. They arrive quietly. A normal night, a tired mind, a single tap on a screen you weren't even paying attention to. I want to start with the live stream, not the wedding deposits, not the ring, not the messages I didn't answer for 3 days after, because the live stream is the part nobody plans for. It was 11:47 p.m. on a Friday. I was sitting on my couch, still in scrubs, scrolling through my phone the way you do when your body is exhausted, but your brain hasn't caught up yet. That empty automatic motion. Instagram. Noise. Distraction. Then I saw it. Simone is live. Simone. Adrian's maid of honor. Loud. Social. The kind of person who documented everything. I tapped it without thinking. The phone was propped against a lamp. The angle was wrong. Crooked. The lighting, that warm, dim yellow you only see in vacation rentals. I could see part of a bed, a window, music in the background, low bass, something distant. At first, I thought it was an accident, just a phone left running. I watched for maybe 15 seconds, already halfway to closing it. And then, I saw Adrian, and I saw Nora. I won't describe what happened in detail. I don't need to. There were 4 minutes and 16 seconds left when I understood what I was looking at, and I watched all of them. I didn't look away. I didn't pause it. I didn't breathe differently. I just watched. 4 minutes and 16 seconds. That's how long it took to end 6 years of my life. When it was over, I set my phone down on the coffee table, and I sat there. I don't know for how long. Long enough for the room to feel unfamiliar. Long enough to understand that the house I was sitting in, the one I owned, the one I had imagined building a life in with Adrian, was no longer that place. It was just a structure, and I was alone in it. At 12:31 a.m., I picked my phone back up. 44 minutes had passed. The live was gone. Simone had ended it. There were 23 comments, most of them confused. 3 of them weren't. I screenshotted everything. Every comment, every timestamp, the duration, the account. Documentation is a habit in medicine. Everything gets recorded. Everything gets dated. Everything goes into a file. Then I made 4 calls. The first was my lawyer. The second was my parents. The third was the venue. And the fourth was not Adrian. Adrian called me the next afternoon. I watched his name light up my screen, let it ring, and then disappear. A few seconds later, a message came through. Having such a great time, wish you were here. There was a photo attached, a sunset over red rock, soft light, beautiful in the way things are when they have nothing to do with you anymore. I looked at it and felt nothing. An hour later, miss you, can't wait to be Mrs. Calloway. I didn't respond. I didn't block him either. Blocking is emotional. Silence is not. Sunday, he called 4 times. Each time, I let it go to voicemail. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because I wasn't ready to say it yet. There's a principle in surgery. You don't operate until you have everything you need, every image, every test, every instrument laid out and accounted for. Otherwise, you make mistakes. And mistakes cost more than time. I wasn't going to make one here. Saturday afternoon, I called Castellan, the jeweler. I explained the situation in the same tone I would use to describe a procedure complication. Clean. Brief. Factual. He didn't ask unnecessary questions. Professionals recognize tone. He said he could have a buyer within 48 to 72 hours. Secondary market. Private clients. 70 to 80 cents on the dollar. I said, that's fine. At 3:40 p.m., I walked into his shop and handed over the ring. Emerald cut. 3.4 carats. A stone Adrian had circled in a magazine 8 months before I bought it. He signed the consignment receipt. And just like that, the ring was no longer in my house. By Saturday evening, there was one less object tying me to a future that didn't exist anymore. Sunday evening, something shifted. Not emotionally. Structurally. A message came through from a number I didn't immediately recognize. Then I read it. Simone. Elena, I need to talk to you. I'm so sorry. It was an accident. I didn't mean to go live. I stared at the screen for a few seconds. Then typed back. I know, I saw it. Send me the full recording. She replied in under 4 minutes. There was a video file attached. Longer than the live stream. 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Complete. Unedited. I downloaded it. Didn't watch it again. I didn't need to. I already had the outcome. What I needed now was evidence. I forwarded it to my lawyer. Monday, 8 a.m. I sat across from him in his office while he laid everything out. Contracts. Clauses. Numbers. Facts. The language of resolution. The venue, he said. You'll recover about $8,500. The catering deposit, non-refundable. That's $11,200 gone. Photographer, partial refund. $1,800 back out of $4,200. Florist, negotiable. The dress is in Adrian's possession. That's his problem. I nodded. He continued. Total recoverable, approximately $14,600 out of $34,000. I didn't react. What about the ring? I asked. He glanced at his notes. Castellan called this morning. He has a buyer. I waited. $39,800. I had paid $50,200. A loss of $10,400. I said, that's fine. He looked at me for a moment longer than necessary. Then, total financial impact, around $29,600. I leaned back slightly in the chair, then asked the only question that mattered. What would it have cost if I married him? And found out 6 months later. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. By the time I left that office, the engagement was legally in dissolution. All communication routed through him. No direct contact. Clean separation. That was the objective. Clean. Adrian came home Sunday night. I know because my doorbell camera recorded him standing on my porch Monday afternoon. He rang the bell 4 times. Knocked twice. Waited. 9 minutes total. I watched the footage later that night. No sound. Just him standing there, shifting his weight, running a hand through his hair, looking smaller than I remembered. He left without a note. 10 minutes later, a message. I was going to tell you. Another one. It didn't mean anything. And then, I love you, please. I read them, forwarded them to my lawyer, and didn't respond. Tuesday, he called my office. My receptionist followed instructions. Dr. Calloway is unavailable. I can take a message. He left a voicemail. 4 minutes long. She transcribed it, sent it to me. I read it once. Every word. Apology. Excuses. Fear. Regret. The usual structure of someone trying to rebuild something that no longer exists. I forwarded it. No response. Wednesday, my mother called. Her voice was steady. Careful. Nora's back, she said. I know. A pause. She wants to talk to you. I stared at the wall in my office, then said, through my lawyer, another pause. Elena, she's your sister. I closed my eyes for a second. I know what she is. Silence. Then softer. Your father isn't speaking to her. I exhaled slowly. We're not excusing this, my mother added. I just want you to know that. I know, I said. And I did. Thursday, Nora texted me. A long message. Too long. The kind people write after days of rehearsing. It said she was sorry. That it started 6 months ago. That Adrian had pursued her. That she tried to stop it. That she didn't know how it went this far. That she loved me. That she never meant to hurt me. 6 months. Not one mistake. Not one moment. A pattern. A decision repeated over and over again. I forwarded the message. Then typed to my lawyer. 6 months. Does this change anything legally? His reply came quickly. No. I stared at the screen, then typed back. Okay. Friday morning, Castellan confirmed the sale. $39,800. Transferred. Final. The ring was gone. The wedding was gone. The version of my life that included Adrian. Gone. Not dramatically. Not loudly. Just removed. Piece by piece. With documentation. With signatures. With timestamps. Like it had never been anything else. Adrian didn't stop trying to reach me. Not directly. Not anymore. He learned quickly that direct access was gone. So he went through the only channel left. My lawyer. Friday afternoon, 1 week after the live stream, my lawyer called me. There was something different in his voice. Measured. Careful. The tone professionals use when the situation has shifted. She contacted my office, he said. I didn't respond immediately. She says it's urgent. Medical. I leaned back in my chair. Medical? I repeated. Yes. A pause. Then I asked the only question that mattered. How far along? Another pause. She didn't say. Of course she didn't, because saying it would make it real. Find out, I said. He called her back. It took less than 10 minutes. When he returned, his voice had lost that uncertainty. Now it was just clinical. She's 8 weeks pregnant. 8 weeks. I looked at the calendar on my desk, counted backward without meaning to. It's automatic for me. Time frames. Windows. Cause and effect. She found out 4 days before the trip, he added. She didn't tell you. She didn't tell Nora. She said she was trying to figure out what to do. I didn't say anything, because there was nothing to say yet. Not until the calculation was complete. Conception. Approximately 2 months before the trip, which meant overlap with me and with Nora. The room felt very still. Not heavy. Not emotional. Just focused. This is the part people misunderstand. They think moments like this break you. They don't. They narrow you. Reduce everything down to a single point. A single question. What do I need to know before I move forward? And the answer was obvious. We need a paternity test, I said. He arranged it the same day. Non-invasive. Blood draw from Adrian. DNA sample from me. And Nora would need to provide one as well. The request was sent formally. Legal language. Structured. Unavoidable. Nora complied within 48 hours. That didn't surprise me. Whatever else she is, she's not stupid. The waiting period was 11 days. 11 days where nothing moved. Externally, but internally, everything was already decided. I went to work, saw patients, performed surgeries, documented outcomes, followed routines, because routine is what holds when everything else is gone. Adrian didn't contact me again during that time. Not directly. Everything went through the lawyer. Messages that all sounded the same. Fear, uncertainty, regret. I didn't read most of them. I didn't need to. They didn't change the variables. The results came in on a Tuesday morning. I was in my office, between appointments. My lawyer called. I answered immediately. Results are in, he said. I didn't ask for context. Tell me. A pause. Then, the child is not yours.
But no, she's teaching.
No softening. Just fact. I closed my eyes briefly. Not in pain. Just acknowledgement. And Nora? I asked. 99.94% probability of paternity. There it was. The final piece. Every variable resolved. Every unknown answered. The equation. Complete. I opened my eyes. Looked at the clock. I have a patient in 10 minutes, I said. He hesitated. Elena, are you okay? I considered the question, then answered honestly. I'll call you this afternoon. I saw my patient. Reviewed imaging. Discussed recovery timelines. Answered questions. Calm. Focused. Present. Because that is what the work requires. And the work does not pause for your life. That afternoon, I called him back. What does Nora's financial situation look like? I asked. There was a slight pause. He had already looked into it. I did some checking, he said. Her account balance, most recent statement, 0. Not low, not strained, 0. She's 60 days behind on her car payment. Still owes you $4,800. Income last year, $31,000. I leaned back in my chair, and for the first time, something close to emotion surfaced. Not sadness, not anger. Just clarity sharpened into something colder. So, I said slowly, he left a $50,000 ring and a surgeon. I let the sentence hang. He finished it for me. For someone with $0 in her bank account. I nodded, even though he couldn't see it. That's accurate. And the child support? I asked. Based on her income, around $620 a month. I did the math automatically. Which leaves her with, what? Roughly $2,000 after taxes and support obligations. Before rent. Before food. And Adrian? His business showed $58,000 last year, but she's been operating out of your address. She'll need to relocate. I looked around my office. Everything in its place. Ordered. Controlled. Between rent, childcare, and expenses, he continued, it's going to be tight. Tight. That was one word for it. I didn't feel satisfaction. That's important. People expect that. They expect some kind of emotional payoff. There wasn't one. What I felt was resolution. The kind you get at the end of a long procedure. When everything is closed, everything accounted for. No complications. No unknowns left. 2 weeks later, Adrian called me directly. Not through the lawyer. My phone rang. I looked at the name. And this time, I answered, because I had decided I would do it once. One conversation. Then done. Elena, he said immediately. I know you got the results. His voice was different now. Stripped down. I know the baby is Nora's, he continued. I need you to understand. I'm scared. I didn't interrupt. I don't know what we're going to do, he said. I don't have anywhere to go. Nora doesn't have any money. I made a mistake, and I know that, and He stopped, waiting. For something. Sympathy. Help. An opening. I let the silence sit for a moment. Then I spoke. You planned a wedding for 3 years, I said. He didn't respond. Every detail, I continued. Every vendor, every timeline, every contingency. My voice stayed even. You said you wanted control over everything, because that's what you do. A pause. And for 6 months, I added, while you were planning that wedding, you were also making a different set of decisions. His breathing changed slightly. Uneven now. Those decisions have outcomes, I said. Silence. The outcome, I finished, is that you're scared, and Nora has no money. A small broken sound on the other end. Elena, please. Through my lawyer, I said. And I hung up. That was the last time we spoke. After that call, everything became quieter. Not peaceful, not immediately, but structured, defined, contained. The way a wound looks once it's been closed. The $4,800 Nora owed me didn't disappear just because everything else had. So I had my lawyer file a small claims action. She didn't contest it. Judgment was entered in my favor. On paper, she owes me. In reality, she won't pay it. Not on $31,000 a year. Not with child support. Not with a car payment already 60 days behind. But it exists. Documented. Filed. A record of what was taken. My parents adjusted in their own way. My father stopped speaking to Nora entirely. My mother tried to hold something together that no longer had a shape. She called me more often. Checked in without asking direct questions. Careful not to push. Careful not to break what little remained. We didn't talk about forgiveness. We talked about practical things. Schedules. Work. Whether I was eating properly. It was her way of loving me without touching the wound. The wedding venue is booked again now. I know because they sent a formal confirmation of cancellation and release. Followed, a week later, by a promotional email. Another couple. Another beginning. Same date. Different names. The world doesn't pause for the absence of your life. It fills the space. Immediately. Efficiently. The photographer rescheduled. The florist moved on to other orders. The boutique never called. Why would they? To them, I was just another transaction that had already closed. That's the thing about systems. They don't remember you. They process you. And then they continue. The house is quiet again. Not the kind of quiet that feels empty. The kind that feels reset. Her shampoo is gone from the shower. Her shoes aren't by the door. Her handwriting isn't on the grocery list anymore. There are no half-finished conversations sitting in the air. No plans waiting to happen. Just space. Clean. Defined. Mine. I make dinner most nights. Simple things. Things that don't require negotiation. I confirm reservations when I make them. I go to work. I operate. I follow up with patients. I track outcomes. Because tracking things is what I do. It's what I've always done. And it's what saved me. Simone texted me once more. 3 weeks after everything. I'm so sorry, Elena. I hope you know it was an accident. I hope you're okay. I read it. Then replied, I know it was an accident. Thank you for sending the video. A moment later, are you okay? I looked at the message for a while, then typed the only answer that was true. I will be. Not I'm fine. Not I'm over it. Not it doesn't matter. Because those things wouldn't be true. Recovery doesn't work like that. Not in medicine. Not in life. You don't tell someone they'll feel better tomorrow when the timeline is 3 months. You tell them what's real. And then you build the plan, and you follow it. 4 minutes and 31 seconds. That's all it took. One accidental live stream. A phone propped against a lamp. A moment no one planned for. $39,800 for a ring that now belongs to someone else. A sister with $0 in her bank account. A man with a child on the way, and no idea how to build a life out of what he chose. And me, standing exactly where I was before, just without them. She planned every detail of a wedding that never happened. Every flower, every seat, every timeline. But she forgot one thing. The part no one plans for. The angle of a phone. The timing of a mistake. The moment the truth doesn't stay hidden. I would have confirmed the reservation. She just never gave me the chance.